Penn State is laying the groundwork to land some premier recruits. And with the blue-white game this weekend, could that happen sooner rather than later?
You are Locked On Nittany Lions, your daily podcast on the Penn State Nittany Lions. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are locked on to Penn State football and Penn State recruiting, and thank you so much for making Locked On Nittany Lions your first listen and watch every single day. My name is Zach Seyko, and I'm your host of the show. He is Richie O'Leary, publisher of Penn State Rivals, Rutgers Rivals, UConn Rivals, Rivals something, you name it. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $250 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So we are talking recruiting as the blue-white game is this weekend. So we're talking visitors and important prospects and where Penn State can really make some ground. But is there a pending boom for Penn State recruiting as they are in a much better spot than they were originally with some high-profile prospects? So we'll begin there before we finish with a preview of the blue-white game. Richie, I mean, we're talking 2026, 2027. I don't know that the boom is immediate, but they are certainly laying the groundwork for that buildup by the May, June, July, when they really typically, that's when that boom happens. So it's not going to happen in a day or in weeks time, but maybe next month or a couple months. I think Penn State is right there on the verge of something big in due time.
Yeah, it's weird because I was kind of just saying to you off the pod, but on here too, it's in the past couple years, like blue-white weekend's always that big weekend. All these, it's like what, 50, 60, even, I guess you could even say 100 plus recruits on campus. You get them on campus, they just get to hang around the program. They get to see the atmosphere a little bit from the spring game. The fans are there. Everyone's tailgating. It's a really good time. Yeah. I just don't know if they're really going to land anyone this go around. I say that every year, I guess, but then they end up landing someone. This year's kind of the same though. On top of it, high school recruiting's been a lot different now too. The transfer portal is the way of the world now for college football. So high school recruiting classes are going to be smaller and smaller each and every year. And Penn State already has 12 commitments on the year. I think they'll probably get up to 20. Could they go to 25 again? Yeah, it's possible. I feel like they always say they're going to go 20. And then out of nowhere, there's just 5 other guys that just show up, whether it's being a flip or a late addition or under the radar guy. But right now, I don't know if I see a commitment this weekend for the first time in probably a long time.
And there's a lot of names you would like to see blue-white seal the deal, whether that's Luke Wafle, one of the top edge defenders in the country. He's 5.9 rating, high-end 4-star, number one in the state of New Jersey for Rivals. Then another edge defender like a Brian Harris. But everybody thinks of Joey O'Brien, especially with the recent visit that he's had, and he's been around Penn State quite frequently just as of late. And it seemed like Notre Dame was going to have him all the way, that this commitment was secure. Penn State might as well not even try. And they just said, hey, give us another chance and let's have a talk. So now let's focus on Joey O'Brien for a second. Yeah. It's not going to get finished with blue-white weekend, but Penn State's in a much better spot because of the one thing that they had told him.
Yeah, basically that he could play both ways. He could play offense and defense. And we've seen him be a really good offensive player at the high school level. And then you've seen him take that next step at this OT 7-on-7 camps that are happening every single weekend, basically right now. He's just looked really dominant. He's lengthy, he's tall, he's athletic. He's got really good hands too. And you kind of see that I always prefer these guys when they're super athletic as a safety, but when his hands are that good, it's really hard to argue against wide receiver. It's just one of those situations. You get him on campus, you get him signed, and then figure it out later. Is he going to play both ways at the next level? I don't think he's Travis Hunter good, but it seems like every kid wants to be Travis Hunter now. It's crazy how much of a switch up one player can make and impact the game completely. Like Steph Curry basketball, now you're seeing Travis Hunter in football. But you hear it all the time now. Like every single athlete kid that plays wide receiver DB at the high school level wants to do the same exact thing that Travis did and play both sides. Will it happen? I don't know. But Penn State's just been able to really sell him. They got him on campus, last weekend for an unofficial. He really built that relationship with the staff. Poindexter's a lead guy there. And Notre Dame was probably in the lead. I think it's actually Penn State back in the lead. I think this one's going to go back and forth nonstop until these official visits happen. And you also got to watch, there's a couple other schools lurking, like Clemson has an official locked in. Oregon, we know they like to pay a lot of money to recruit. So
do they?
Yeah, just a little bit. Tennessee and Ohio State too. Now, I don't think Tennessee and Ohio State, even Clemson, are that much of a factor. I do still think it's going to come down to Penn State or Notre Dame. But again, Oregon, you can never really count them out because when you get offered a ton of money, it's really hard to say no. So we'll wait and see. But right now I have it Penn State, Notre Dame just below them, and then Oregon kind of a distant third.
We mentioned Luke Wafle, and he seems kind of more of the immediate. And then we'll talk briefly about one of the top quarterbacks in 2027. So Penn State is laying the foundation, as I mentioned, for, hey, the dominoes will fall, and then you'll get that explosion in recruiting here. Luke Wafle, though, younger brother of Owen Wafle. I imagine there was some strategy there by getting Owen. I mean, they did need defensive tackle. Don't get me wrong here, but you can also kill two birds with one stone in a sense. And you get Owen Wafle, and that was something that was huge for them that, hey, for Luke, I want to play alongside my brother. So Owen goes into the transfer portal, leaves Michigan, joins Penn State. And Luke Wafle, you and I talked about this, that it's not really it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And that's why Blue White Weekend, I think you and I agree that in years past, this would be huge. But what's the holdup with Luke Wafle? Because I thought this was always a strong lean and that it was just a matter of time here for one of the top edge defenders in the country to commit to Penn State and really reset this class and put them on a better trajectory.
Yeah, I mean, the Wafle family in general built a very strong relationship with James Franklin, not just on Owen's transfer visit, not just on Luke's unofficial visits, but way before that when Owen was still in high school. Penn State probably finished like a close second with Owen, and you could kind of see that's why he's now at Penn State. The relationship there between the staff and the family is huge. I think it's still probably a matter of when, not if. It's just a matter of he wants to take other visits. He wants to make sure everything is set in stone. You want to make sure you're 100% committed. You don't want him to basically say, all right, I only visited Penn State these past couple months. Maybe I should just go look a little bit because I am committed, but you don't want to commit going to look anywhere. So just be sure you're 100%. And James tells this to recruits all the time. Make sure this is 100% what you want to do. I would love to have you as a commitment, but I need to make sure you are 110% locked in. Or 107% locked in. So that's the thing. Like you want to just make sure these guys are locked in. I know he took a visit to Ohio State recently. I know USC I think he took a visit to USC actually too. He's just making sure everything's status quo. He's getting offers still from Florida, Nebraska. All these schools are still after him. I think UNC is trying to push for him as well. I believe he visited there last month in March. So we know Bill Belichick's obviously selling the fact that you can play for one of the greatest coaches of all time. But yeah, you just got to make sure that you're 100% committed. And that's a matter of, like I said, when, not if. Could it happen this weekend? It wouldn't shock me, but I think this is more of probably one of those June official visits that you said. I think he's going to be there on June 13th weekend. I could see that being wrapped up right around then.
Class of 2027. I know that's far in advance, but Penn State, 2026, they really hit it out of the park with quarterbacks. We talked about how they would get two. They got two. Yeah. So now let's speak it into existence here for 2027. Peter Bourque is one of those prospects that already has the attention, is already, I would say, consensus, top 10, top 5, even in the country across all the recruiting services. Bourque is really interested in Penn State. And Drew Allar is the reason. I mean, Penn State's recruiting Bourque, but that might surprise people that Drew Allar and where he is and what lies ahead with his NFL career, that this is why Penn State quarterback recruiting is starting to go from, hey, you get your fringe free 3-star here to, oh, these are serious pro football prospects at the end of the day. And Peter Bourque is just that. I mean, this is another QB that continues to add. So it goes Drew Allar, top 10 in Ethan Grunkemeyer, 2 top 20 quarterbacks in Peyton Falzone and Troy Hune conservatively, and now Peter Bourque, top 5.
Yeah, it's crazy because like every single James Franklin quarterback at Penn State, right, has made the NFL or at least played in the NFL or signed a contract at the very least.
Starting QB.
Yeah, so it's super impressive. It's just such an easy selling point too. And then when you have a guy like Drew, who's a projected first round who knows? Maybe, I guess it depends on the draft next year and who's up top. But a projected top pick, I mean, they have it's an easy selling point right then and there. Then when you make the college football playoffs, you make a little bit of a deep run, semifinals, and it's like, okay, another easy selling point. But Peter Bourque's been to campus a couple times now. He was on campus again last weekend, 2 weekends ago. I forget exactly when it was, but he is the number 1 QB on their board in 27. It sounds like they're arguably the favorite right now. I'm not close enough to submit a future cast just yet because Michigan, Notre Dame are still pushing. We know Michigan specifically loves to recruit that New England area. But yeah, no, I mean, I think Penn State's doing a hell of a job with Peter Bourque. He's super talented, plays for a solid program at the prep school up there in Tabor Academy. I think it's just a matter of it's tough. Quarterbacks, I don't know if they're going to commit or when they're going to commit, but they always commit early. And that's the thing. I could see Bourque committing this summer. I could see him waiting it out till December. But for the most part, these guys try to get committed early because that's going to be the leader of your recruiting class. That's going to be the guy who's going to be out there recruiting wide receivers, offensive linemen, tight ends, etc. Hey, come play with me. Come play with me. Come play with me. And we could build this superstar class. And I think that's where 27 is kind of heading to because you've already got a couple studs there in Leighton Von Brandt, Keemon Spell. It's a very good class so far. Now, can you keep it going? Add a Peter Bourque type. I think you get him. And then we're talking 10 potential top 10, top 5 even class.
I think that would be the case, especially with the names that you just mentioned, because all of their ceilings are 5-star. Quarterback Peter Bourque, running back Keemon Spell, wide receiver Khalil Taylor, and offensive tackle offensive tackle Leighton Von Brandt. Their ceilings, I'm not trying to sensationalize, is ending up as a 5-star across the industry. So Penn State, like I said, it's pending, but it might not be right away. So be patient with it as Penn State recruiting. As always, it's a work in progress, but I think they're in a really good spot, and I think they're in a great spot for the future. Now, they have plenty of prospects visiting, even though blue-white doesn't have that same cachet as it did not too long ago, but that's college football and where we are, but they can still make a strong impression. So we're going to talk about the most important prospects that are visiting this weekend and where they can gain some ground. That is coming up next here on Locked On Nittany Lions. Today's show is brought to you by Amazon Fire TV. Did you know your Fire TV is also an Xbox? Turn any TV into a gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console required. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe or sign in to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're ready to go. Dive into hundreds of premium titles from EA Sports College Football 25 to Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and Avowed, as easily as you stream your favorite shows. It's gaming made simple, and it's all on your Fire TV. You'll also get affordable and portable gaming. Play high-quality Xbox games at a fraction of the cost of a console. If you already have a console, a Fire TV Stick 4K device is more affordable and easier to travel with, allowing you to take your games wherever you plug in. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller are required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K, Fire TV Stick 4K Max, and the Fire TV Cube. And later on in the show, we're going to talk about the blue-white game specifically. Is this the last one ever? Just what you need to know ahead of time outside of the recruiting angle of it. So, Richie, let's get back into it. I know that at the time of this recording, that the list is not going to be finalized. It's not going to be finalized until Saturday morning for the most part. But you know the players that are committed early as far as, hey, we're going to be there for blue-white. Penn State at least knows what it's working with and knows, hey, this is what we can do to gain some ground on prospects that are going to be in attendance. So with that being said, which prospects are in attendance that have your attention and have Penn State's attention?
I'd say it starts with wide receiver. Davion Brown's a guy I'm keeping a really close eye on. Virginia native. He's got a lot of interest from schools. He's got like Michigan. He's got a ton of Power 5 offers actually, but he's been to campus quite a few times already. And I love Jasir Rogers, and I know you do too. I think he's the stud of this class. I think LeVar Keys has gotten really developed quite a bit over the offseason. So, but I want to see a 4-star stud receiver. I know Jasir Rogers is a 4-star on some sites. I've been pushing for him for a 4-star on our site, but I want another 4-star receiver. Like I can't deal with the fact that they just keep taking 3-star projects at receiver. It's killing me.
You got to start somewhere because of where the stigma. You got to start somewhere. So I think it's working. It's in the short term, maybe not, but long term, yes. Khalil Taylor, for example, in 2027.
A 4-star on our site. Just saying, he is a stud. I think Lyric Samuel, 3-star, is going to be a stud. But Davion Brown has so much potential. He's a Virginia guy. We know Marquise Higgins is a Virginia guy. And he's been to campus quite a few times. And if you could beat out Michigan out in this recruitment, it'd be huge. Now they're going to have to gain some ground because Michigan sounds like they're up there for him. So if they can gain some ground this weekend, I think they have a good shot of landing him. It's going to be tough, but we'll wait and see. Some other guys like Bryce Gilmore, who's coming up from Texas. I think it's his second visit to campus ever. Just show him Penn State in general. Show him the campus. Show him the college. Show him the atmosphere. It's a hell of a different scene from the Prosper, Texas to State College, Pennsylvania. And I don't even know what Prosper looks like, to be honest with you. But I could just tell you Texas and Pennsylvania are just completely different states. Other than that, Terry Wiggins is coming over from Coatesville area high school.
That would be a huge guy because they don't have a linebacker at this point in 26.
He's a weird build, so I feel like he's probably best suited as an edge at the next level.
Okay,
but maybe one of those situations where you start out at linebacker and maybe an Abdul Carter type, to be honest.
Where are we going with this?
Start out at linebacker, and then it's like, all right, you packed on a couple pounds, go to edge rusher and see what you could do. So that's one to keep a really, really close eye on. Brian Harris is very high in the program, former Maryland commit coming up from Florida again. We know he just got Bama the other day, so that's going to be one to watch. We'll see how serious that is. But Penn State's doing a hell of a job with him. He's expected to come back to campus again in June for an official. 2026 is there's not really there's not really that many other names. 27 is where it gets a little bit more interesting. They have Keemon Spell committed at running back. They have Amir Brown coming up from North Carolina, very talented back. They have another Texas guy coming up in Landon Williams-Callis, another talented 4-star running back. We know they're very good with running back recruiting. Even with Keemon Spell, they still want a second back in that class.
Always.
It's just every single class. And I kind of love it because you can just every other school, you can it's a tough sell for 2 running backs because it's like, all right, this is our workhorse back. And you could be the workhorse after him. Whereas at Penn State, it's like, we have 2. Like we use 2 like nonstop. So
it benefits you both of you in the long run.
Yeah. And you're not going to have as many carries, not as much workload on your body. Like it works so well for Penn State. So that's going to be something to watch. Sydney Rolao, that's how you spell it or pronounce it. Jeez, struggling today. Coming over from the Pennington School over in New Jersey. He's a prep school offensive tackle in 27. He's been to Penn State 3 times already this year. This is going to be his 4th. I think that there's a chance something could happen. I'm not going to say specifically that it's going to, but I think there's a chance. He loves Penn State from what I know. He's very high on the program, very big on Phil Troutwine, and we know Phil Troutwine's been, again, a hell of a recruiter. You can say this for almost every position group at Penn State at this point, but that's pretty much it in terms of notable names. Now, there's a bunch of others on our list. Let's see, Benjamin Izuka from Detroit Catholic, Michigan's coming over. Tariq Boney from St. John's College down in D.C. A bunch of commits are going to come to campus too. We know LeVar Keys is coming up. We know Darryl Carey's coming up from Maryland. Keemon Spell, I just mentioned before. I'm assuming a lot of the other commits are going to come too. They haven't specifically confirmed their attendance, and we have to wait for that technically. But I expect Jasir Rogers, probably Leighton Von Brandt, especially when it's so close, but I guess not super close, Delaware to State College, but close enough that you could drive in a day and just
a new pipeline they built.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's just if you asked me what state they would hit up the most in the next couple of months, I would have never guessed Delaware. Delaware would have been like 50th on my list, but yeah, it is kind of insane. But yeah, we'll see what happens this weekend.
Now, and like I said, blue-white isn't the same as what it used to be, but this is why you still have this kind of weekend, and I don't want to see it go away, but that might be the direction that we're heading in. So, Richie, let's address it on the other side of this break. Is this the final blue-white game? Are spring games going away? Well, I don't think that Penn State is going to go against them. I think Penn State's going to try to continue to push for them, but the circumstances are different now. We'll discuss it more coming up next on Locked On Nittany Lions. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are here, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel, you can place your first $5 bet, and you'll get $250 in bonus bets if that first $5 bet wins. You'll love using FanDuel because FanDuel makes betting so easy, whether it's picking your favorite team or diving into some player props, from three-pointers to steals to assists to rebounds, you name it. FanDuel has so many ways to bet on your favorite players and your favorite player props. Plus, after the game tips off, you can even combine live prop bets into a same game parlay for a chance to win big. So don't miss out. Head over to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today when you place your first $5 bet and win that first $5 bet. That's $250 in bonus bets over at FanDuel.com. Don't miss out. Head over to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today if your first $5 bet wins. Again, that is $250 in bonus bets over at FanDuel.com. This very well could be the last blue-white game ever. Blue-white doesn't have the same. It was at one point in time a true scrimmage, and then there was some modifications when James Franklin came in and they had different scoring, and it was just offense versus defense. And now it's really turned into a glorified practice, and that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be the final spring practice, but with the NCAA regulations and everything else, that you can only have so many practices. So that's why the blue-white game is just a blue-white practice. So I'm all for it. I'm all for the tailgating, fan experience, having the players go out onto the football field. You can do all of that. But that's why I think with other schools, you're going to see them move away from a spring game because they don't value it as a weekend for the fans. They truly say, okay, this is a spring game. How does this benefit us? It doesn't benefit us anymore because we're worried about poaching, worried about the portal, worried about other teams. I mean, Richie, for anybody that doesn't know, this game's not televised. This game is not streamed. But I know for a fact, if you are not going in person, you are not going to see it. Meaning you better show up. So that's the appeal of it, that you be there in person, be loud, and create the atmosphere that Penn State wants to use as part of its recruiting pitch. So I fully expect 60, 70,000 people to be in attendance. Maybe they set a record. Maybe they do, since there is the rumor that, hey, this could be the last blue-white game ever. But for Penn State's sake, I think because of Pat Kraft and James Franklin, they don't want this to go away. So will it be a spring game per se in the future? Probably not. It's already been trending away from that. But I think there's still going to be a weekend in April devoted to bringing all of the fans back, creating a fan experience, a recruiting experience, and having the football players do some form of competition, whether that is a traditional practice in front of the fans, which is cool. It's an open practice in front of the fans. But the blue-white game, I think, expectations have already kind of prepared me for this, that it's going away or it's already gone away at this point.
Yeah, I'm kind of intrigued. I don't know about a record this year, just because I know your thinking is correct. I feel like, in the fact that this might be the last one, maybe a ton of fans show up, but when
it's not on TV,
but I'm looking right now and it says 60% in the morning for rain. So I'm like,
Well, don't check the forecast.
Okay, never mind. Don't look at the weather. Don't look at the weather.
Definitely look at the weather. Yeah. But if you're I just think of the out-of-state travelers still, and the rain's going. It's not supposed to rain all day.
No,
I know it is supposed to. I know it is supposed to rain, or at least at this point in time, it's supposed to rain earlier in the day. So you get your weather forecast here on the podcast.
Yeah, there you go. What do you call it? Kind of threw me off there, but I don't know. This could be the last one, to be honest with you. It is interesting because I just don't know what spring games really mean anymore. Like you said, when you change the format and there's really no tackling, you don't get to see even like the starters play many snaps. It's like, what am I doing here watching walk-on versus walk-on now? Mind you,
that's true.
Not going to be walk-ons in the future. So now I guess it's just third-string scholarship versus fourth-string scholarship. Do you get to see glimpses of little stuff? Like, you'll see Drew throw a couple passes. You'll see Nick Singleton and Katron Allen, I'm sure, running the ball a couple times, but it's two-hand touch, basically. You don't want to injure anyone. And that's the biggest part, or the biggest issue with some of these scrimmages they have during spring. It just gets intense, and sometimes injuries happen. So you really don't want to risk anything at all, and that's why it's so blah and boring for the most part. Do I think they're going to try to keep it? Yeah, I think they're going to do everything they can. What do you do to fix it? I don't really know, because already
You don't.
22 different Power 4 programs have already canceled their spring games. They're not doing them this year. Like Auburn, Alabama, USC, Ohio State, North Carolina, like they're all just not participating in any of their, or not doing a specific spring game. I think there's a couple different things you could do. I think you can make it more Pro Bowl-esque, and I don't know if this will work because the Pro Bowl is kind of dying too in its own right. Do you make it like a 7-on-7 challenge? Do you make it,
I think there's going to be more of an entertainment aspect, because that's what I'm thinking. What about a flag football? You put together some
something
teams
like
and they go back, and it's about creating a fan experience type of weekend, because you can still have the players run onto the football field and do the build up and everything, and have the blue band go onto the football field and basically do the presentation and have more player fan interaction. And that's what we've seen because of NIL and all these meet and greets that you could never do before, or you could, just it wasn't as enticing for the player. So what's it worth? What's it worth my time? So that's the shift that it's going to go in. I just want people to understand that there is no more, hey, this is a scrimmage, this is offense versus defense, or this is first string versus second string, or in a perfect world, you would love to see the captain of the offense and the captain of the defense pick teams and actually go through somewhat of a 75% scrimmage, kind of like the Pro Bowl, where you're not going to go at full speed, but hey, light contact, everyone's in pads, and this is entertaining. And then you can say, okay, that guy had a good game, and I'm excited to watch him in the fall more so. But they're just not going to do that. And it's a shame, but I don't think even if the NCAA relaxed its regulations, I don't think Penn State would still do that in general. It is a practice. As much as I want to see a nifty little scrimmage, it is a practice, and they have to get better on that day.
Yeah, I mean, another idea that I kind of had, I was like, you know what, just close it, make it spring practice again, make it a scrimmage or something. Kind of close it to everyone, and if you want to go, you have to donate X amount of dollars to the NIL fund or the collective.
Buy tickets.
And, buy tickets at this point. And then the more tickets you buy, the closer you can get to the field. The more access you get, the more you get a post autograph session, a post practice autograph session, something like that. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. And I really do think there's a potential that this could be the last one. I don't know if Penn State wants to do that. I just think everyone in Power 4 is kind of just on the same boat, and it's like spring games are, well, they are what they are.
It's really going to shift, even if they're going to call it probably blue-white weekend. Who knows if there even is going to be a practice, a scrimmage, some sort of thing. I really do think it will move to it. My argument is that Penn State, James Franklin, Pat Kraft want to keep blue-white. They want to keep it. What it turns into, how they intend to keep it, is a different story. I think it will turn into player meet and greets, maybe some skills challenges, fan player interaction, maybe the flag football type of situation where Drew Allar's not going to be there in the future, but Ethan Grunkemeyer puts a team together, Beckham Kritza puts a team together, Peyton Falzone or Troy Hune, they all pick teams, and then maybe they have 4 different teams that play in this flag football tournament. The offensive line can play too. It's a fun weekend. You can do the presentation, the build up, like, hey, this is what it's going to be like. And then there's still that recruiting aspect where it's almost another extension of the Lash Bash, the barbecue, and weather's nice. So you can still preserve this, but it's not going to be, hey, we have the blue team versus the white team. We'll see who ultimately wins. We can televise this on TV. It's going to transition to more of just kind of a weekend celebration to cap off the spring season.
Yeah, pretty much just kick off the football, I guess, basically. You could do a concert in the background. You could just make it a giant tailgating scene, make it a giant party for everyone that has anything to do with Penn State. There's really not much else you could do at this point. It's just spring football is just weird. It's just different now. It's not the same it used to be.
Thanks, NCAA.
Yeah, it's their fault. The portal, everyone else paying significant amount of money. It's just a giant mess, but we'll wait and see. I think this could be the last one, though. This last I guess official game, technically.
Official game, yeah. As far as a spring game goes, even a glorified practice. It's gone from a game to a glorified practice to it's just going to be a fun weekend for the family. Yeah. But I just know that they do want to preserve. They would prefer to have a spring game as opposed to not having it. But if it hurts you more than it helps you, then there's no worth in it. And that's going to do it for this edition of Locked On Nittany Lions. So we're wrapping up just like the blue-white game might wrap up here. Thank you so much for checking out this show. Thank you, Richie, for the time, the expertise, the insight, as always, around recruiting. For anybody that wants to keep up with Richie's work, links will be down in the description. As always, let us know your thoughts and comments down below, your questions as well. If you are new to the show, subscribe to the YouTube channel and wherever you get your podcasts. Richie, again, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. As always, Zach, thanks for having me.
And again, thank you for making Locked On Nittany Lions your first listen and watch every single day. For your second listen and watch, got to check out The Portal with host Brian Smith. The Portal is Locked On show devoted to all things transfer portal and recruiting. So Brian has the latest rumors, portal entries, signings. Be the most informed fan when it comes to the rapid changes in college football. You can find The Portal on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. And it is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every day.